What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So as y'all know, today is indeed Wednesday, which means the new summit is now live here in Motorfest. With that, we will have Year of the Horse. You will get yourself an Underglow, which I think I saw. I'm like 90% sure that's not a new Underglow. So if you are looking to get something new, obviously that won't be it. Besides that, we'll then have the Smoke if you did end up missing that. And I gotta admit something, by the way. Some of these summits are decently fun, I would say, but I really do feel like the rewards honestly just hold them back, dude. Like, I just gotta admit that. But besides that, guys, we will not have 9 straight races this time. We will have 6 races from Rally Raid, Racing, Street Tier 2, and that's kind of it. And also, we'll have 3 skills and not 9 races, which I think is a good thing. Although I will admit, I think 9 races in the summit was honestly pretty dope, and I might even be more open to that because the skills tend to have pretty much no brain power being used, like about 90% of the time. Am I right? For example, on the Slalom here, jump into the 911 GT3 RS, throw on a score breaker. You could spawn in, just literally drive right toward it, bro. You don't have to do anything. Maxed out points with a score breaker. Literally that simple. For the Speedtrap here, I did end up using the Ferrari F80. You could probably run other cars if you want to try to jump into it, but I'm being real. I ain't doing all that, bro. All I did was go past the objective itself, go down the road, kind of turn around a little bit over there to get a head start, head toward it. A big tip I can give you, go into manual, put the car in like 8th gear around that corner pretty much on the straightaway. Make sure you're running a chemist set with frenetic and pure. Hit the button, guys. You'll do well over 280 miles an hour. Got 150,000 points. And yeah, I don't think there's a reason to try to jump to get like 2 or 3,000 more. It ain't worth all that, bro. Finally, the escape here. I did end up turning around on this one and getting a head start again, hitting the objective, going straight toward the mountain, jumping off of that, and kind of heading toward the volcano, jumping over that and off-roading. The biggest thing is hitting your nitrous in midair, as you can pretty much easily do 250 miles an hour in the air, so I would definitely recommend doing that. And this one was easy too, I'm not gonna lie. Got it like second try, and funny part is I did end up messing up on the end of it. Now, besides the skills, though, let's now talk about the events here. Now, I'm going to be real and say most of these are fairly straightforward. The first one here is a vehicle loan race in Street Tier 2. For this, you will have to drive the 911 GT3 RS. It is also a track race, a very short one for that matter. The biggest thing here is making sure you're getting a good racing line and kind of getting around the corners as fast as you can. Managing your nitrous on these straightaways and doing that correctly. And honestly, on this event, that is basically it. For the next race after that, though, it's also Street Tier 2, again, vehicle loaned on this one. You will have to use the Mustang GT Fastback Stunt Edition. This one has a lot of highway areas in it, so if you are slipstreaming, you'll probably be much faster than a solo player on this one. But the one thing I can't say, though, on this event, guys, make sure on the straightaways you're saving some nitrous to keep that speed up. And then besides that, just being careful in the corners and, you know, using your nitrous correctly. And that's probably the best way to do it. I mean, it's nothing too insane going on with that one. The next event here is in the 911 GT3 RS again. But this is one of the EV races where you have to go through to get nitrous. Like, you know, the things in the road you have to drive over that builds your nitrous up. Then when you use it all, the nitrous doesn't come back. This one I would say making sure using that nitrous, keeping that speed up. You can kind of waste it a bit if you know you have one of the things coming up to where you know you can get more nitrous. Funny part is I would say maybe 50% of this race I was also in maxed out gearing, which I think is 7th in this Porsche, something like that, 6 or 7. Stay in that gear, fly around the corners, be careful, hit that nitrous, and boom, you're pretty much on the road to getting that one done. The next race after that is also a racing vehicle loaned event. For this, though, you will have to use the 458, which, funny part is, this car being based handles way better than I thought it was going to handle. I thought it was going to be a kind of, I guess, a failure. I thought it was going to fail. We all do know how some of the cars handle in this game. They get very squirrely. This thing was a lot better than I thought, though. I feel like it was fairly decent. The big thing, though, and a big tip I can give on this one, but also the final race, which is on the end, guys, you also have to use the 458. I will have pro settings. They're very simple, but definitely helped on this race a good amount. Is when you are driving this car, be careful when you are going around the corners. Now, what I mean by that is if you're in 3rd gear, let's say, going around a corner, maybe maxing out the throttle and letting the car kind of redline super hard does throw the back end out a little bit. So what I was doing is I try to shift up an extra gear. You won't be redlining, so you might lose a little bit of power, but it will at least keep the power of the vehicle, I guess, so it doesn't spin all over the place, right? That's kind of the thing I was aiming for. and that did help in both of these events. They're honestly pretty straightforward. The one on the right, though, in the car you have to run, your vehicle, which is the 458, it is raining in that event, so it might throw some players off, I would say. The final one here, though, is a rally raid event. For this, you will have to use the Ford Bronco. I'm gonna be real, guys. The off-road handling in this game is just so wonky, man. I gotta be real. It's so dang wonky. The way the vehicles just get so squirrely, and they don't really have any traction. They like to slide all over the place. I don't really understand it. The Bronco was legit fighting me the entire race. It was sliding everywhere, losing traction, oversteering, and kind of just sliding all over the place. Bro, it was kind of ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Definitely wasn't a big fan of it, and with that also shows me why I love Forza way more in a lot of ways for off-road. It is so much better. But besides that, though, overall this summit is fairly easy to do. I would say most players could probably get this done in 45 minutes to an hour, no issue whatsoever. But the rewards, once again, are honestly just kind of terrible.